There is no guarantee for success, but there are ways to get closer to it when you do the right things. Who you surround yourself with is just as important as what you do. Finding the right people, the right classes, the right activities, and taking the right tests are all decisions that shape your future. Find out more today on Destination University with Dr. Cynthia Colon. Dr. Colon and her guests will give you the tips you need, whether you're a student, parent, or educator. Now, here is your host, Dr. Cynthia Colon.
Welcome to Destination University. If you are a college-bound teen or a champion of one, you are exactly where you're supposed to be. We're running a special series interviewing real teens with real dreams who've been admitted to college. Hello, everyone. I'm your host, Dr. Cynthia Colon, author of the book Be Committed, Get Admitted, and the founder of Dream College Academy and College Essay Bootcamp. Wherever you are tuning in from today, you are in for a treat. Grab your beverage of choice and a notepad because you're going to hear some golden nuggets from our star today, Clark. Today, you'll learn what Clark did right, any regrets he might have, and he'll reveal where he's headed for his dream college. And he's going to drop some wonderful golden pieces of advice. So be sure you are ready. Okay, Clark, are you ready to rock and roll?
Of course.
All right, excellent. Well, our students come from, our alumni come from all over the country. So why don't you just start by sharing exactly, where you're from, where you go to school, and anything else that we should know about you.
Sure. So I go to school at Seton Hall Prep in West Orange, New Jersey. In school, I was primarily I did a lot of acting for my school. Even though our school is a lot of sports, which many people may know us for, I did a lot of our acting, and that was primarily one of the things that I was in love with at our school, and they really supported that there.
Ooh, okay. We're going to dig into that Coolness Factor in a minute. So that's great. I love that. Well, when I think of Seton Hall, I know you're in the prep school, but I think of Seton Hall, the university, known for basketball or, known for a lot of things, but certainly about sports. So nice for you to bring that up. Okay. So let's dig into the good juicy part and share with our viewers and listeners, where were you admitted to college? Let's start there. Let's not tell them where you're headed yet, but where were you admitted to college, and any kind of merit aid or anything you want to say about any of those colleges?
Sure. So I was admitted to the University of Miami, Stevens Institute of Technology, and at Stevens, I was offered, I believe, $25,000 per year.
Wow.
I was admitted to Santa Clara University, and there I believe I was offered $35,000 per year. I was also admitted to Rutgers University, Syracuse, and the University of Texas at Austin. Those were the places that I was admitted to.
Oh my goodness. Okay. So I love that you were offered, merit aid. A lot of students don't really even realize that just by submitting the application, you could be considered for merit aid. And so that really definitely helps. And sometimes it plays a role in your decision. So, okay. So let's dive into, what you did right. So the college admission journey obviously does not begin literally in senior year. It actually begins much before. So looking back on the last 4 years, what would you say you did right that you would offer as good pieces of advice for those who are just starting their journey?
I would say the things I did right was the extracurriculars that I invested my time in were all things that I genuinely enjoyed doing. I knew that colleges, or I'd heard that colleges love to see you were a leader in this and you did this and you did that, and to put a million things. But when it came time to also write my supplementals for college, I needed my extracurriculars to be something that I love to do, because they're the things you're going to have to write about when you have to write these essays. So when my school didn't have an anime club, for example, in my freshman year, me and a few of my friends, we created one at our school. And that was something I was able to write about. And I spent a lot of time doing the acting and the performing arts at our school. And that's something that I've been doing since I was 5 years old. So I wanted to make sure that not only was I taking a leadership role in the activities I was doing, but I wanted to do the things that I love to do, because those are the things that I can write about and talk about if I'm ever asked in an interview for a school, or if I have to write about it for a supplemental.
Okay, so you've used the term supplemental a couple times. So why don't you share with our listeners, what does that mean? Clark, what is a supplemental?
Okay, so a supplemental essay is essentially for most applications that you may fill out, there will be an overarching essay that you'll write for your common application, which you may learn about later. But
Mhm.
then many schools will also ask you to write what they call a supplemental essay, which will be roughly a 250 to 350 word essay off of a prompt that they've created that they want you to answer to get more insight beyond the essay that you've written.
Yeah.
And those supplementals really help the admissions get an eye into who you are, since they can't sit down with every applicant they get one on one.
Oh, so good. Look at you. You're like a college admission officer. Like you just explained that really well. And here's the truth. Like really the nugget. Okay, so you got that explanation from Clark, but the nugget he gave you before that is that in order for those supplemental essays to pop, to stand out, to shine, to wow a reader, you must have something interesting to say about yourself. And Clark is saying that he really got involved with things that he really genuinely enjoyed. And so one of my little sayings is like, interested students become interesting applicants. And so you did a very good job of that. I'm so curious. I love, you started by saying you were really involved in your school's performing arts. And I don't want to give away the farm, but ladies and gentlemen, Clark is going to major in mechanical engineering. So this is very key piece. So before we get to, your major and where you're headed to school, like these things don't seem to be related at all. So when, where, how, and why did you get involved in performing arts?
So before I even really knew that I love math and science and mechanical engineering, since I was about 5 years old, I would go to summer camps where I would act. Like down in my town, there would be YMCA would run this drama camp, and us at 5, 7, 9, we'd be putting on plays for our parents and everybody. So I was doing performing arts when I was that young, and it's something that I just loved, the ability to go on stage and put on a performance for people and to make people smile and to have fun on stage with the people around me.
Wow.
So later, when I learned that also I love math and science, when I wanted to find a way to incorporate kind of my art into that. And
Mm.
that's kind of, while it may not be initially intuitive to think that engineering and arts really go together, there's a lot of design that goes into the products that we use.
Yep.
So being able to incorporate my artistic side into the math and science that I learned to love is really why I chose engineering as a space.
What? Oh my gosh, you guys, I'm not even paying him to say all these things. This is okay. This is genius. Um, so one of the things I talked about private clients about is really finding something you really love doing, right? For you, it's performing arts, and finding a way that it does kind of connect in a space of your desired major. So plenty of ways and reasons for you to be able to connect. I think about stagecraft and design and all kinds of things that you can really connect with your engineering background. So now, do you want to say a little bit more about the plays and the musicals and things that are you a singer? Are you a dancer? Are you an actor? Are you a triple threat? What's going on?
So yeah, I would say my strengths, my of the three traditional performing arts, I definitely say I'm strongest in acting. That's where most of my experience lies. For my school, I've done our past four performances, which were the one act play that goes wrong, a funny thing happens on the way to the forum. This fall we did Harvey, and then this spring we did Bye Bye Birdie. And those four shows were a lot of fun to do, but also my role specifically were very acting heavy. But I do also sing and dance a little bit. It's not my top talent, I would say, but I when I'm on stage, whatever I have to do, I'll do it, because it's the one place where you can just have fun. And if you don't think you're doing it well, if you're giving it your all, then you're gonna have fun doing it regardless. So even though I'm not a trained dancer by any means, if my choreographer says, do this, do that, I'll give it my best.
Oh, what a good sport you are. Now, do you plan on trying to continue some of that performing arts in college?
Of course, yeah. While I may not dive into it immediately as soon as I get to college because I want to
Mhm.
size up how large the workload may be, especially for engineering, I
Absolutely.
do intend on, once I've found a way to manage my time, definitely find the arts on campus and see how I can get myself involved because I know at some schools, a lot of the arts is done by the arts programs they have there. But since I won't be a part of that, I want to find the more recreational parts of it that I can get involved in.
Right. Now, one thing I know about you, Clark, your mother and I met years ago in, well, I was a graduate student and I feel like she was maybe a PhD candidate or something. She was ahead of me. But we are in the business of colleges, and I know that she works at a university. So did you always spend your whole life, on college campuses? I mean, was it just comfortable for you? Like when you were entering this process and I guess visiting other colleges, was it just natural to you? I mean, did you even realize it was different for you?
So it was definitely different to experience it for yourself because when you're younger, you're seeing a lot of other people go through it, and you're kind of from the perspective of, oh, that's them, and I'm just watching them. And then when it's your turn, you're like, oh, this is me now. So you're seeing everyone else have to, maybe for college applications, put themselves on display or write all these essays. And you're like, oh, okay, that's them doing it. And they're saying it's super hard, but I don't know. That's not me yet. And
Yeah,
then when it's you, it's a different experience, but it was definitely a bit more familiar. And I was less shocked by everything
yeah.
because I had been around it for a while. And I have an older brother who went through the whole process and I watched him go through it. So
Mhm.
I understood what was ahead of me, but I didn't fully get it until I was doing it for myself. And being with my mom on college campuses when I was younger, it made going on visits, it let me know what I
Yes.
liked in a college long before just going to the ones now because I had
Mhm.
seen all the colleges my mom had worked at previously and seen, oh, I like this campus. Oh, this campus is cool, but this part isn't my favorite. So it let me know what I'm looking for in my process.
That's a really good point. That you were sort of ahead of the game and knowing what you liked, what where you felt comfortable, things like that. We often sort of share with families, like, when you're going on either a family vacation or even maybe mom or dad has to be somewhere on business on a business trip, like just pop over to the local campus for just the feel of it. It doesn't have to be a school that you think, oh, I'm definitely going to apply here. Just being on a college campus is a different vibe. Would you
Yeah.
agree?
Yeah, it is. It really is because when you're on a college campus, especially, I'd recommend going during a time when the students are there because it's very different when sometimes I would do my visits during a spring break and there's nobody there. You get an entirely different vibe than when I would go with my mom to her on her like during one of the days when she's working and I would look around the campus and there's people everywhere and there's
Yeah.
people interacting with each other and you get to see people walking in and out of classes, having lunch, just enjoying each other's company, and you get to see more so what it would actually be like to be there rather than just what it looks like.
Yeah. Ah, to be clear, mom and Clark's mom and I and several of our friends, we were at Teachers College at Columbia University. And many of us continued on and work in student affairs on college campuses. So I'm sort of the black sheep of the family. Went rogue. I went to the secondary school part. Okay, so here's the before we get to the reveal, the question really is that I think all viewers, listeners like to really know is that if you are comfortable being humble and real and authentic about, is there any regret you had? Is there anything you would do differently if you had to do it over again? Or maybe you don't have any regrets, but share with our listeners any insights.
So for those who are going into the process, at once I got to that point, I was a bit more confident in what I had done. However, looking back on all 4 years of high school, one thing I will say is I knew going into high school what I really liked to do, and I stuck with doing those things. So I guess I don't know if I call it a regret, but maybe one thing I wonder what could have happened is if I open myself up to some of the things that I hadn't tried as much yet. For example, I'm really an arts kid, but some of my friends ran track and field. So I sometimes wonder what would it have been like if I did track with
Mm.
them and maybe gave that side a shot as well. Maybe would that have changed the outcome of my college applications? Would I have gone to school for a sport if I had given it a shot? It's just something that you kind of think about of there's a lot of things to do in high school, and you have to pick yours, but you're always going to wonder, what if I picked something different, especially if you sometimes see the success of others doing those other activities.
Mhm.
But I would say that I'm still very proud of the things that I've done, and that I'm confident in the actions I took up until this point, that I wouldn't go back and change it, but I will wonder what it would be like if I had done something different.
Well, that's a great point that you entered high school having a very clear vision of sort of who you are and what you loved already. And you just continued down that path because it was probably the easiest or the path of least resistance, or, call it what you want. But as a freshman, that was what you chose. But you're I mean, I can see you're charismatic. I mean, like, I feel like you're meant to be on stage, actually. So maybe that was the good
Yeah.
thing. Okay, so here's the sort of the drum roll. You're going to share, from among the schools that you were admitted to. And I dare say it's also probably pretty cool that an engineering major, an engineering wannabe, major as you're applying to college, probably not too many, musical theater
There's not,
actors,
yeah.
and, in that pool. So that probably helped you stand out too. Okay, so share with everyone where you chose.
All right. So in the fall, I will be attending the University of Texas at Austin. Uh, and I'm very excited. I'm very excited because it's a whole new time zone, even for me. So it's a whole new life, a whole new city, and I think it'll be a great experience.
Was that important to you? What were the sort of the top three things you were looking for in a college?
So I was looking for somewhere where I knew I would be academically challenged.
Mhm.
Um, I wanted somewhere where there was a good sense of community and a lot for me to do. And I also wanted something new because I know there's a lot of great schools here in New Jersey, but since I've lived here my whole life, I really wanted to go outside of New Jersey and go somewhere. That's why I was so okay with going somewhere as far as Texas, because I wanted somewhere completely new, unlike anything on the East Coast, where I can really see a different part of the world or a different part of the country.
Oh, I just love that you got so excited that you said that you're going to be in a different time zone. I mean,
Mhm.
you're right; it's completely different, and I like that that was part of your criteria of what you were looking for. Of course, you're in, UT Austin is an incredible institution. It's quite difficult to be admitted if you're out of state. So congratulations on that. And then, of
Thank you.
course, one of the hardest majors to be admitted to. So what is a fun fact or something that you have learned about UT Austin that you would like to share with everyone?
So before, when I thought about some cool things that I've learned about the school, a lot of them related specifically to my curriculum, but overall for the school, one thing that they sent me a letter about that I found really interesting was they have this very famous clock tower at the school. And every year for the graduating class, they put on this large light show, and they light up the tower with the numbers of the graduating class. So when graduation was for them a couple weeks ago, the clock tower was lit up with 23 written on the clock tower for the graduating class. And I find that to be something really cool and would be really nice to experience when it's my turn to graduate in 4 years.
Oh my gosh, that is super cool. That is very cool. Now the tidbit that I know, I'm a sports fan myself, so I, hook 'em horns and football. I think they travel very well. They're fans. They're very loyal.
Hmm.
I am an alum of USC, so unfortunately, the bad taste in my mouth is the year that we played in the Rose Bowl, and Vince Young beat. He won the winning touchdown. So UT Austin was victorious. So good for you. You're going to have a great time. Now we interview just a certain small group of students every year for this podcast, and it usually happens that every single student is choosing a different school. But this year, two of you have the same school. I'm not going to say which other student it is because she'll be revealed another time. But I was like, oh my gosh. So I'll have to introduce the two of you so you know.
It's actually really interesting. I didn't know that.
Yeah. I mean, the first year, every single student we interviewed, they were all choosing something completely different. So, but, we're based in California. So it usually happens once in a while that like two kids are going to the same UC school. But for two of you to be UT Austin, I mean, I was really surprised. So there you go. It's becoming super popular. It's a really great place. So I'm excited for you. Congratulations, Clark.
Thank you.
Congratulations. When do you take off, and when do you head to Austin?
So I'll be heading to Austin for an orientation program in July, but I head there for full time for school in around the middle of August, so like August 18th roughly, because classes start on the 21st.
Oh, well, fantastic. Okay. Well, hold tight. I'm going to do the closing of this, but you're going to wave goodbye to the audience in just a second. So here we go. Oh my God. Super excited for Clark. Oh, everyone. Wasn't that such a treat? I told you were in for a treat. Thanks to Clark for being with us today. Applying to college is no easy task, nor should it be done alone. Students are courageous and strong and to get through this process through their senior year. So we are super proud of Clark. If you're watching and you want to learn more about the college application process, head on over to my website to download your free gift from me at drcynthiacolon.com, DrCynthiaColon. And you can also just plug in destinationuniversity.com, which will take you to the same place. If this episode has in any way fueled your confidence or helped build your dreams, please share this episode with 3 people in the next 30 minutes. And if you are watching on YouTube, hit subscribe, comment below, and send us any questions you might have. We'll be sure to answer. And parents, you can join the conversation on our Facebook group, Destination University, open to all parents, no matter your teen's grade level. That's all I have for you today, my dreamers. Remember, if you are a dreamer and a doer, welcome to Destination University. We are all family here. Join us every week, same time, same place. Until then, wherever you are, make it a happy and sunny day. Bye for now.
Thank you so much for listening this week to Destination University. Be sure to join Dr. Cynthia Colon again and get one step closer to your success.